We're talking with Arden, who we met at the laundromat, and she has a really interesting story. So tell us what you're doing and how you got here, starting with, you said you were raised in Virginia?
Yeah. So I was raised in Virginia. I went to high school sort of in the dirty urban South is how I think about it. And then as soon as I graduated, I knew I wanted to leave Virginia, so I went up to Vermont. And I've been chasing my doctor dream since I was maybe 16. And so I got up to Vermont and I took all my pre-med requisites and got kind of into philosophy. And then when I graduated, I decided I needed to find something that was gonna help me. It was gonna help me get into medical school, but also fill that void of how am I helping? How am I serving the world? And then I found wilderness therapy, and it's all over. It's big in Utah. It's big up in Colorado. But this wilderness therapy program is really primitive, and so we really try and strip all away any of the societal comforts and the coziness. And so we make our own backpacks. And so here's my backpack. It's made out of, this is tamarisk that we took down, and this is an old leather bag that I had. So I'll model it. I'll quickly model my little backpack here. We have a nice little hip belt.
So how were the young people chosen for this program?
So usually it's parents and teenagers, parents who don't know how to deal with their teenagers. And so a lot of them have been to other therapy programs, usually something residential, but still like really struggle. And so these kids they're really struggling. They're really hurting. They're really looking for something. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of substance abuse, occasional like good gang affiliation. So it's, and none of them want to be there. When they get there, they're so angry. They're so angry that they've been taken out of everything that they know. They've been stripped of all their clothes. They've been stripped of all their things, and they show up into this sandy desert to me, and I'm like, hi, hello, how are you doing? Are you ready to be here for a while? We're gonna hike today.
Is it 2 weeks, you said?
Well, so the kids are there for 10 to 15 weeks.
Wow.
10 to 15 weeks. So they're out there for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, however long they need.
How many staff and how many kids?
So the groups, they max out at like 8, and there's usually 2 to 3 staff per group. So there's a decent ratio. Yeah, there's a decent ratio, but a lot of the kids really need one-on-one. They really need a lot of attention, and this specific program that I work for, it really founds itself on being non-punitive and non-consequential. So we're really not there to be authoritative. We're there to make sure they don't hurt themselves, to make sure they don't hurt each other, to make sure that there's a flow to the day, to make sure that there is therapeutic aspects. But we're not there to tell them we have the answers and to tell them that our structure is the way and the only way. It's really just creating space for them to figure out, what is it? What are you struggling with? Why are you struggling like this? And how can you get over it? I think one of the biggest things I teach these kids is that if they don't believe in themselves, then they're not getting anywhere. It's so sad to see a 15-year-old that's like, I've been in therapy my whole life. Nothing's ever gonna help me. I'm doomed. I'm like, you're 15. You have so much potential, but I know as soon as you lose faith in yourself, there's no help for you, man.
So have you, do you keep up with the kids afterwards? Or?
We're not really supposed to.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
legally.
you don't know really how.
No, not really sure where they're
doing.
going or where they're headed. But it's really beautiful to see a kid when he first comes in, and then to see him when he leaves. And so I don't know, once you go back into the world, do you get back into your old rhythms? Do you find your old trauma and your old way of life, or do you hold on to that like fire that we literally helped you helped you bust?
Yeah, okay. Wait a minute, first, how did the kid, you said you got some old stuff, you made that out of How would they make theirs?
They have, they can request hides. So just deer hides.
Oh, okay.
They can request deer hides. Yeah, I have some scraps around, but I like to make things, so I don't really have a lot of leather right now. Yeah, but so everything is friction fire.
I've heard of this being done, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bust a quote for you guys because it would take me too long. But these are my spindles and my bottom board and my top rock. I wish I had. Oh, there it is. There's my piece of line, and so that attaches here, and then you would tie that off. But the nature of it is that you pop that guy in there. It's not really attached properly. But then
Hold it down with the
you
rod.
hold it down with your rod, and then you bow drill.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but every time we start fire, someone has to do it, and usually it's the kids. Usually the staff doesn't bust coals unless it's really cold and everyone's really hungry and we need a coal. But it's quite the process.
So what part of the year do you do this?
It's year round.
Even in winter?
Yeah, it's year round. I started in March and it's only September. So I've never seen a winter through, but I'm going to. I'm gonna see it through. I need a new sleeping bag.
So they sleep in tents, or?
We don't carry tents. Usually we cowboy, since we just sleep on the ground, because we don't really worry about rain too much, because it's the desert. But I carry a tarp. All the kids carry a tarp. This is my work tarp. And so it's cool though, because since my backpack, it doesn't have obviously like a bag on it.
Right.
So you normally would take all your stuff, wrap it in your tarp, and then attach that to your pack.
Okay.
But your tarp that you wrap all your stuff in doubles as your shelter if you need it. So it's useful. Yeah,
So if it's raining or snowing,
we just find some trees and hang tarps.
how cold is it getting?
I don't know.
It's 30.
Yeah.
It went down to 33 last night, and this is the beginning of September.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you do it near here? Or?
It's just right up 89, so it's on just a really big piece of BLM land.
Okay.
Yeah, but just public land.
Wow.
And we just march around. We go to high elevation in the summer and lower elevation in the winter.
Okay.
Not that it makes that much difference, but just to stay cool and to stay warm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do most of the kids feel like they've accomplished something?
By the end, yeah, it does. I mean, like the whole like believing in yourself thing, you know, that I really push constantly. Like, if you give up on yourself, you have nothing, dude. You have to believe in yourself. But I think like what comes with believing in yourself and what comes with carrying a backpack made of sticks and busting coals is realizing just how competent and how strong you are as a human, and especially with like 13-14-year-old girls too, that come out there and they know nothing but like cushy cozy suburbia, and then to come out there and to live out in the sand and to have one pair of clothes and to bust coals and carry all their stuff up big hills, up big mountains, through the sand and bushwhack. It's so empowering, especially for those little women that are just trying to figure out who they are and what they're trying to become. And you really see just like it seems different, you know, anxiety and depression and substance, but really I think it all comes from this like, who am I? You know, what am I capable of? Everyone's kind of like searching, trying to like fill that void, and somehow just knowing your own strength is really powerful in and of itself. I don't feel like I need to cure anxiety and depression. I don't feel like I have to pretend to be a therapist. I just have to show people how strong and competent and independent they can be just as a human being. And so I think that's the most powerful thing we really teach these kids.
Is there a spiritual dimension at all?
Yeah, so the program in and of itself is it's sort of native based. So we go out into the desert and we're on these native lands. We're on these old native lands, and so we do a lot of ceremonies. I'll grab my heart pouch. It's just but we all carry a heart pouch.
Low battery.
neck all the time. And it symbolizes your heart, it symbolizes your being, it symbolizes like your growth and like change throughout the program while you're there. And so this is a pendant, and so I received this pendant, and when you receive a pendant, we build a hallowed ground. So 2 kids or staff will go out and they'll create a circle out of leaves or sticks or rocks or something with the centerpiece, and the entrance is made of sage, and you walk in, and it essentially just creates sacred space. It basically creates a space where you're there to open up your heart to somebody else, to be willing to receive something. It creates a space, and you can, it's usually about some sort of acknowledgement. And so, like, while there's no, I don't know, Christianity or Judaism or some sort of organized religion, we really do recognize that there is something beyond us, right? There's some sort of power, some sort of great spirit that is that we can not necessarily call upon, but I don't know, like, feel a connection within. Feel a connection like within like a unified universe, especially when we come together in these like sacred spaces that we create out there. And so, you know, we're not preaching religion, we're not even preaching spirituality, but we really are preaching like get to know yourself as an individual, but also get to know like the connection between you and your homies, and you and the nature around you, and you and the universe, and whatever it is that you call upon, and whatever that unifies you to everything else. So I'm psyched to have my heart pouch on. It's been a long time. It's been on my dashboard. My heart pouch.
Can you think of anything else to ask?
No.
Well, I appreciate.
Well, thank you guys. I'm quite flattered that you would love to, that you would want to hear me.
We've met so many interesting people in our travels, and you're one of them. Laundromats are a good place to meet people.
Everyone's getting clean.
So you're on your break between sessions and just
I go
getting
back tomorrow.
reorganized. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I go back tomorrow. Yeah, so I was just backpacking in Colorado for the past like month and change. And so I'm gotta clean up all my backpacking stuff and put everything in my stick backpack.
So on your time off, you backpack.
I like to backpack, and my coworkers, we're all on for 2 weeks and off for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And so we all get off at the same time, and
So the kids have a change of staff?
yeah, every 2
Okay.
weeks, exactly.
Okay.
So
I
they're
think you
there.
said something about 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're there for 10 to 15. I come in, we just switch staff every 2 weeks.
Okay.
But all my buddies, they come out and they want to grab their other backpack and go hang out in the desert somewhere.
Wow.
So that's what we
That's
do on our
cool.
off time.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, well, thank you guys. Thank you.